Right, well, I am here. I am with the wonderful Mark Byford, aka the Bowler Hat Farmer, and Mark's just going to give me a quick lowdown as to what this event entails.
Chris, how are we doing? It's good to be with you, my friend. I haven't seen you for a few weeks. So the idea of today, Chris, is to look at regenerative farming as a whole and to look at how we can change the way we farm. The trouble is we've got to, Chris, with the main kind of farming practices now, is that everything is completely upside down. It's broken. It's a bit like the food supply chain. It's so broken, we've got to get back to basics. So what this is about is we started this project a year ago, and we now got the soil coming back. So we got it from 5% life to 10%. Last time we've checked, now the actual soil is now sitting at 22%. So for us, it's nice that we're seeing a development. So today is about bringing all the things that we know about permaculture, horticulture, the energetic farming, and seeing how we combine all that. Because when I was you know, I go out and talk to lots of growers and producers, and they all understand sections of it. And this is a bit, to me, it's a bit like having a shed full of tools. You know, if you've got the best tool shed in the world, you can produce some really nice stuff. But then you also have tools in the shed that some people don't know how to use. So what this is about getting, you know, I think we've got about 70 or 80 people come today, looking at every aspect of this and saying, okay, well, I can use that bit, and that bit, and that bit. I didn't understand that bit before. Now I do understand that bit. I can start doing something with it. So yeah, so I think, you know, as much as anything from today is about getting the awareness of changing farming, because there's a lot of farmers that have small plots of land and so forth that could grow a lot of vegetables that just don't. They've just become, you know, in my opinion, lazy with how they do things. A lot through necessity of costs, and you know, because they're stuck in this perpetual nonsense of I must produce something cheap so that I can be in the position of producing something for the supermarkets, and so that I can be in the position that we're, you know, producing.
Just safe.
Yeah, getting people to understand there is a different way to do things, a different way to understand things, a different way to deliver things. And I think, you know, from you with your YouTube channel, you've proven that the system doesn't like someone who kicks back, because they demonetize you. And that's one of the things, you know, that if people disagree with that en masse, they'll have to do something about. Yeah, definitely. So that's what today really is about bringing that together.
Nice one. Well, let's hope it all goes well and more to follow. Thank you.
Absolutely. Cheers, Chris.
In the whole country, my little tiny garden in Wyndham, I'm the first one. My potatoes are being harvested next week, so pray that they're good. And Francesco and I, that was it, we struck it off. So within 2 weeks, we were Electroculture GB. 3 weeks, you know, after, say, we planted in 22nd of July, and then that was it, we started. We've been to Italy, I've done plenty of training. I now know this, the amazingness of this subject. It is a vast subject. It is truly a glorious subject. It is beyond all wild expectations. It is real. We have a society, a community in Italy that's been doing it for 10 years with 1,200 hectares across Europe and North America and Scandinavia, with proof, absolute proof, producing the finest vegetables. And the goal is, the absolute reality is, after 3 to 5 years of input, you have self-healing, self-regenerating soil once again, like Mother Nature intended, that we don't therefore have to touch or add anything to. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that? That's the goal. So we need to get past having to rely on anything other than what's in our soil, don't we? Because we know where this is going.
Our target is completely different. We want to get people to go back to self-sufficiency. And so that's why when you start to get involved with us, we have an immense, massive amount of information that we share. Any product you can get from us, hundreds of pages. You buy a product, you give us your email, and we start to pack you with things so you can get the knowledge. simple things. We have some small starter kits, which are things are very little trial for you to use at home. And you get one of these, you get about 70 pages straight of knowledge, how they work, why, how to do, what not to do. And it's really incredible because we are really literally the only one in the world that we decide to take this approach.
It's going, and the local deer decided they'd eat everything, and so Ray helped me fence it in, and we got things going. Now, the clay here, the main soil here is clay, very, very heavy, very, very sticky. So you get certain times of the year you can work on it and can't work on it. When we tested it, it's got about 5% life in it. So from our side, what do we then do? So I was very fortunate that all these compost bags over here, they came from a site down in towards Stansted Airport where they'd been growing a huge tomato plant. They used them once, they dumped the lot, and they had about 4 or 5 articulates to get rid of, and we ended up with all of it. So what we've been doing is gradually, and I know Roy and Zach are here somewhere, they certainly came over and we covered the entire area thick with it, and Ray then just lightly cultivated that in. But it didn't achieve what we wanted to do. It was still sticky, it did start to break the soil down a little bit, but not enough. So we decided what we'd do was to grow in beds and just build the beds up. So we started on that process last year. Got some veggies in, done okay. Right, now we start looking at the other side of this and start looking at the electroculture side and what steps you can go through. Now, I know from horticultural side you can go, okay, if you've got really nice compost, you can keep adding manure to it to put some nitrogen, grow beans in it, put nitrogen in. You can do all these things to keep going and going and going, but it still doesn't give you that 100% life in the soil. And you've always got to keep topping it up, topping it up, topping it up, topping it up. And when I first spoke to Francesco about this side of it, he's like, no, you don't need to do that. After 4 or 5 years, this will be self-perpetuating. It will just then produce its own goodness. I'm like, that goes against everything that I was taught at agricultural college. Everything I was taught, everything I've ever believed on that side, that goes against it. So for this, what we've started to do with these beds, you'll see they're a lot higher than those ones. So what we've done here is we've started off with this, which is mulch, tree mulch, and this has started to rot down, so it's going back to soil. Really nice. So we've started with that. Then we put the compost in, and then we put the mulch in again. But in between each layer, we've got the stone, and that's the key feature to this. Okay, so it's built up like a stack of sandwiches, and then you get to the point that as this all and this compost is particularly heavy in worms as well, so they're pulling all this about as we move forward. But the big thing with this is no dig. So I don't know, for me as a farming side, there is nothing more pleasurable than to plough a field, and when that furrow turns over to see where you've been and you go, wow, that looks brilliant. But understanding now this side of it, your top 12 inches of the soil is where all the life is, and what you do when you come along and plough it is you tip it all upside down, and everything that should be at the top's at the bottom and the bottom's at the top. Okay, and next year we do it all again. So we just keep doing this perpetual cycle, which just destroys the top 12 inches of the soil.
Forgive me if I interrupt you. There is one extremely important very important comment one thing to understand. The soil is the earth frequency. The earth is on negative. The sky is positive and the soil, the earth is negative, if you look as a polarity. When we introduce our machinery, which is a steel, basically, steel is positive. So you destroyed completely the electromagnetic field of the whatever is in the soil. So you literally, electrically, you kill life. That's why there are one guy discovered a few years back, we should use copper as a tool to work the soil, because this copper is negative, so that it doesn't really create any imbalance in the life. Then you go, sorry. It was just a very little parenthesis that because we all with the massive big machine, the plug, we put is steel, so it's positive, so it destroyed completely the electromagnetic balance which is in the soil, so there is no more life can grow, literally.
So for this side, for me, this is the future of growing vegetables. I don't see, these big fields of big agriculture. I think it's done personally on the vegetable growing side. For me, there's enough people starting to become like all of us, awake to what's really going on and wanting to get involved in projects like this. And when we started the CIC a year ago, and the idea of that is to fund other projects like this. Okay, so to get things like this off the ground so that people like you know, in the community can go out and physically get involved. This excites me really, and I can't emphasise enough. I was excited enough about growing anyway, but then when you add this to it, it just blows my mind. So the energy will run from the antenna down the 3mm galv, and even though this is a 200 square metre project, it's going to be 6 of these radials, it will run for 150 metres. 6 times. So one aerial antenna sited correctly, applied correctly to the galv in the soil, aligned correctly south to north, will produce enough voltage to energize what you see here, the compost and the rocks, for 150 meters. So one aerial services 1,000 square meters of vegetable growing. One aerial. It's not expensive. It just needs to be applied correctly. Little bit of voltage. The stones get applied year on year, 3 to 5 years. The bacteria gets applied. You'll see some examples of bacteria applied year on year for 3 to 5 years. Then you have yourself regeneration. Our fertilizer is naturally green. It comes from, as we know, the comfrey and the nettle, and we build on that. We use things like borage, chamomile, etc., dandelion, and we keep going. And there are many, many others accumulated herbs that we can use. It's all very simple. After 3 to 5 years, it's almost no cost. Okay?
And if you think
correctly.
you have an example here, a farm like this, they spend 50 grand per year in chemicals.
Can you imagine? No more cost.
That you get an installation, it will never get to cost them money.
And what
it's going to be once.
Life energy, which you can now measure, which you device to measure life energy. One company in the world produces a lifeometer. The life energy goes from 5 to 10%, 70 to 90% in 3 to 5 years. And that's the difference, and that means bacteria, right? That's your microbiome, your macrobiome. You never touch it. You let the worms come to the surface, and there's the smaller stuff go below. I heard 6 months ago from a wonderful permaculturist. He said, when you turn the soil like Mark described, it's like taking a skyscraper and turning it on its head. Now that gave me a massive catastrophe visual, as I'm sure it's now giving you all. And now I don't touch my soil. That's it. I leave it. I talk to it. You know, I speak to it. I speak to my plants.
Yep.
Good morning garden, good evening garden, right? Here's my love garden.
It's true.
And never touch it. It knows better than me, so long as I give it the foundation blocks, right? Anything else, guys? What do you think? Get some food.
Yeah, get some food.
We're going to come back and we're going to do a huge installation.
This adjustment should be way in and the other is way out, so we make the energy to make a nice circulation. So that's how you achieve balance in life, in and out. So now we already doused last day because we were doing it. Of course, we have to put it down. But what we do, first of all, you start on a map, because you can't just come in the field and because it would take you ages. So literally with the pendulum, and you douse the map, and you get the approximate point, which is fairly accurate. But you actually want to find to the centimeter, because with these roads, you can be really precise to the centimeter. If you think about how ancient castles or whatever structure, how they found whatever is under secret passages, they all come down with this. When you want to find the water streams, you use this, but they're really extremely precise. So you can hear there is nothing, and here is that what you're looking for. So we can really talk about centimeters. So now I was looking for this place. I put in my mind what I'm looking for. There you go, here the cross. Oh, just put on here. I'm not doing it on purpose, it's happening. I found this one through the same way. So we know here it's going to be one tower. Actually, in this specific case, this is the male one.
What's it finding, Francesco?
What's it finding? Why did it cost? What's it finding? The magnetic?
No, it's actually your body. It's me. It's the same principle that pendulum works. It's we create when you douse, you basically you get connection to your subconscious. So it's the subconscious actually is created your body. It makes a micro movement, but they're not guided and made by your conscious part, but your subconscious part.
So I might find
So
a different part to you.
no, because
What is that?
What is-
looking
what have you
for
just
what's it
discovered
looking
in the
for
earth
ground?
in here there is a vortex. Because I was
Ah,
thinking, show me
that's
the
what I meant,
vortex.
that's what I meant.
Show, you need to
Okay.
think. Literally, you find what you're looking for.
Okay.
So you said you need to set up your mind on whatever target it is. It can even be gold, diamonds, whatever you like.
Does it work
Now we're
over
talking.
concrete if you've only got pots? in
Yeah.
there?
It does work everywhere.
Okay,
It's,
thank you.
and basically, our subconscious part is connected to the universe. So they are in constant communication. But we have this barrier between the consciousness and unconscious part. So the difficult part is to manage to divide the two. So let your subconscious out in the very moment while you're dowsing. This is the critical part, because it is something that absolutely everyone can do. My little kids, they do douse. They're incredible. And it's not even a gift. It's part of us, fully part of us. It's just most of the time we just don't know, and we don't know how it works. And for example, this one here is. We checked last time. It was 3 days ago, 4 days ago when we were here. I went on the map. I asked to show me the closest energetic vortex to this installation we are going to do, and I just start with the pendulum, because you start from a map with the pendulum. You move your finger, and at one point the pendulum starts to move differently, and that's where you start. Then you ask, is it the male, female? And the male is the energy coming out. We call him the masculine energy. And whatever it goes down, instead we call him feminine. And the other one is down there, just after the tomatoes. There is one of the sticks coming up. You can see, and that is the feminine. So now we're going to install one here. So we're gonna do a little bit of a digging, probably 40-50 centimeter. It's okay, Andy, after I redouse it to find a spot. It's okay.
All right, dude.
Yeah, you can move out the stick.
Just to make sure before we go and do this, just to actually fit in. Did you want to redouse that hole before we do?
No, I already done it. Good. Now we block it nicely. Put back some soil and still through dowsing.
So Mark's going to put the first bit of basalt in.
Of the energy where it gets. Then we do a nice spray.
You and Gloria,
together,
yeah?
and we're gonna measure it again.
Yeah, let's do some. We were doing this the other day, putting it on the beds here.
Yes. Sprinkling.
We'll let everyone else
Okay.
do some.
Woody, you've been working so hard.
Now it's the third. I think we should do with some container something, because they're gonna get. Okay, dirty hands is not bad sometimes.
How's that feel, mate?
It's better with hands.
Yeah, okay.
Gives
I don't mind.
our personal energy.
I don't mind.
Feel good? Francesco.
Am I?
Yeah.
Okay, Andy. There you go.
Fill it to the top.
Yeah. Normally you want to leave a little bit. Then you get some nice piece of paper. You write down your intention, what you want it to do, and you leave it there together. It's very.
Okay.
They are really helpful.
Amy?